On this episode of Geek Dad Life, we're going to open up these MOTU Origins Deluxe Flying Fist He-Man and Terror Claws Skeletor. Hello everybody and welcome to Geek Dad Life. It's your host, Jay Glatfelter here. So I was finally able to find both the Flying Fist He-Man and Terror Claws Skeletor. I found the He-Man at my local Walmart, gosh, I feel like a month ago, but I just found the Terror Claws Skeletor at my local Target. So hopefully these are going to start hitting retail shelves with some regularity. And for those that are maybe still waiting on pre-orders or are still looking for them, hopefully everyone will be able to find these guys pretty soon because in package they look fantastic. Now I have my vintage Terror Claws Skeletor and Flying Fist He-Man here to compare to these new versions from the MOTU Origins line by Mattel, and I actually am honestly pretty excited for these versions. If you've been following the channel a while, you know that I have been, taking out my vintage versions of these characters out of my display and then replacing them with these MOTU Origins figures because, as you know, for the vintage ones, those rubber band legs deteriorate over time and will continue to deteriorate. So I'm storing them safely and then having these new MOTU Origins figures take their place. So I'm excited to get these two because they're kind of at the forefront of my Eternia display. I'm kind of mimicking that original poster that just looks amazing, and that's how I have it set up in my display. So these two will be featured front and center on my Eternia playset display. Now these are new for 22, but I feel like they started showing up late last year. And if you've gotten the deluxe figures before, you know what to expect here. That is the larger card back. That means more artwork, which is great. You actually have artwork on the front of the cards, and then the back of the cards looks awesome as well. Again, it's fitting that these will be displayed with my Eternia playset because Axel and Francisco have done an amazing job of both figures kind of combining to create this ultimate battleground artwork on the back, which is really, really cool. And you have the Eternia playset right there, dead center, and it just looks fantastic. You've got Mossman, Cyclone, Fisto, He-Man on the good guy side, and then you've got the Terror Claws Skeletor, Two-Bab, and Spikor on the bad guy side, but it just looks fantastic. We also have pictures of Wave 7, which again started hitting targets last year. And then we have these two new deluxe Flying Fist He-Man and Terror Claws Skeletor. But still, the artwork looks great, and really excited to open these bad boys up. I think I'm gonna go He-Man first when opening them up. I don't know why, that's just what I'm going with. So, still in the package, looks great. I've actually never been a huge fan of the vintage version. I always thought his neck made him look super weird, as part of the actual action feature of the vintage one. So I'm actually kind of excited to get this version, or an Origins version of the He-Man, and I'm so pumped they kept the vac metal on it, and it just looks great in the package. Let's see how it looks outside of the package. All right, we freed him from his bubble here. I do not like this zip ties. They are just such a pain in the neck. I'd much rather have the little rubber bands. Maybe this is cheaper, I don't know, but I don't like it. All right. So looking at this Flying Fist He-Man, he looks great. Now his head has a bit of a bobblehead action. Now I'm guessing it's because of the action feature. So I don't know if this is something that a lot of people are experiencing with their Flying Fist He-Man, but mine definitely is. It has a little attachment here on the back, which looks like it's stuck to it, so hopefully, because on the vintage ones, these little attachments can get lost. Like for my Terror Claws Skeletor, he is missing that one, so I can't attach his little dragon head thing there. But anyway, the figure looks great, again, aside from the bobblehead. And the action feature works great as well. Looking at his accessories, he has an extra weapon holding hand. He has a complete power sword, which is great. We have his Flying Fist shield. Also contains that awesome black metal. You can see me in it. It's so shiny. And the Mighty Mace. And he comes with a vac metalled out Mighty Mace, which is pretty cool. And then he has a second head sculpt, has the windswept hair kind of head sculpt. It's the same one that we got with that deluxe Battle Cat 2-pack. I'm not a big fan of it, so I'm not even gonna worry about putting it on this He-Man. And then the comic that he comes with, Under Siege, featuring the Flying Fist He-Man and a bunch of Horde troopers. And glancing through the story, looks a lot of fun. Also has Terraclaw Skeletor in there, which makes perfect sense. Oh, got Hordak in there as well. Was kind of hoping we would see Eternia in that, but that's okay. And then we've got his little directions on what is removable: just the head, hands, and feet, which makes sense given his action feature. All right, so let's put on his Mighty Mace. Always love good alliteration. There we go. We got his Mighty Mace, and we got his pretty cool shield. Can I just put this right here? That work? Maybe. Not really. And there you have him. All chromed out and looking awesome. Let's see how the effect works. Works great. So the Mighty Mace spins once you just kind of give it a good throw. And yeah, I say it's a win. Aside from his head being super bobbly, I think this is a really freaking cool recreation of this character for the Origins line. All right, let's compare him now to his vintage counterpart. And again, the vintage will always have a special place in my heart. It is a classic and iconic look that inspires these new figures. But again, I've never been a huge fan of the way the sculpt on this one turned out. He had that thick neck. So I really like the look of this new one. It feels better proportioned, and I think it'll look better on a shelf. And the fact that it still has the action feature, I think, makes it special as well. So there you have it, Flying Fist He-Man in the Origins line. Let's move on to Terraclaw Skeletor. He's got some vac metal of his own, even though not as much as the Flying Fist He-Man. Wonder if he has vac metal envy. All right, so there you've got the Terraclaw Skeletor out of the packaging, looking fantastic. Again, I love the way they just make the colors in MOTU Origins pop, because they really do pop. Looking at him next to the vintage Terraclaw Skeletor. Again, while this design is iconic, and I'll always be maybe number one in our hearts, I really do like the approach that Origins has taken with this figure. Funny enough, the Flying Fist He-Man's shield is much bigger than the Origins version of the shield, but the dragon attachment for this is the new one, is much bigger than the vintage one. But same function, same features. So I thought that was kind of interesting little tidbit there. But yeah, he also comes with an additional head. This one's kind of smiling. A lot of people gave grief towards the first version of the MOTU Origins Skeletor. I love that head sculpt. But this one's kind of fun. I think, I've already got a couple with this on it. I'm probably going to go with this new one, just kind of do something different. No bobblehead on this one. Again, I'm assuming that's because the Flying Fist He-Man has that issue. All right, let's put on his Terraclaws. Come in like that. So that way he still is able to move the forearms, which is important. There we go. And there is your Terror Claws Skeletor. Let's see how his effect works. I want to like raise him up a little bit. He's kind of doing the Thriller dance. Cause this is Thriller. Thriller night. But it works. It works. That's the important thing. Oh, it looks awesome. Freaking love this thing. And then he does come with his Havoc Staff, which isn't that important. And then he has the Snapping Skull Weapon. I always thought it was like a dragon skull, which makes sense for the story. He comes with the same comic as the Flying Fist He-Man, which should not be a shocker. And he has the same level of swappable pieces. But yeah, boom, there you go. And then this one, you know, again, like my vintage one, missing his little attachment on the back. Skeletor is, I think, the most important because you want a place to store his skull weapon. Unlike He-Man, where you don't necessarily need to. And I guess it'll probably help balance out the Skeletor as well, since the Terror Claws go out so far. And it actually does kind of work when you're standing up. But again, it'll make your footprint for the Skeletor like ridiculous. So let's see, if I take it off, will it just fall forward? And yep. So, you know, maybe making the skull weapon a little bit bigger was with purpose to make sure when it is attached, the Terror Claws Skeletor can actually stand up. So we'll see if that works out on my Eternia display, but still, he looks fantastic. Everything is larger for this new Terror Claws Skeletor. The vintage one claws are smaller. And the way they solve for the balance issues, they just made the feet bigger on both the Skeletor and the Flying Fist He-Man. They kind of have like thick booties that they wear. But still, similar to all the other Origins figures we've seen so far, the colors are brighter, they pop more, and they do look fantastic. They're like just perfect little updates to the vintage figures, which is why we love the Origins line. And which other toy lines, like the Retro TMNT line, Ghostbusters, I mean, really, any line bringing back the vintage style figures should look at what Mattel is doing with their MOTU Origins line, because they've gotten it right. They've nailed it. They're figures, they're toys that are great for kids and collectors. It hits both so well. My favorite between the two, I think, would have to be He-Man, just because for me it's such a significant improvement compared to the vintage one. And you know, looks like He-Man. It has the vintage style head sculpt. I think it just looks fantastic. But they're both great figures. They're hitting shelves right now, both Walmarts and Targets in the US. You know, I would assume Toys R Us and Walmarts in Canada. And hopefully for those that have ordered outside of the North American markets, hopefully are seeing them soon as well. Definitely want to thank the GDL patrons that make these videos possible. They appear on the credits of each video on Geek Dad Life, so if you'd like to see your name right here, become a patron today at patreon.com/geekdadlife. Another benefit is doing a raffle each and every single month, and this month is a biggie, a Super 7 Classics Ultimate Skeletor. This thing is amazing. So it's only $5 to join. So a $5 entry into a raffle. Every single patron will be entered to win this amazing Skeletor. So definitely a lot of value there, including Geek Dad Life After Dark, the Toy Geeks After Party. So definitely become a patron today. Definitely check out some of my other videos like this one that YouTube wants you to check out, and one of my more recent videos. And until next time, hasta luego and goodbye.